This episode of this Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey is brought to you by energy healer Jean Border's personal, powerful transformation program. Know you're leaving money on the table, but can't figure out how to bring it in? Need to double your productivity and profitability? Need an extra push to get things moving in the right direction? Visit www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com/transformation now and apply for a business consultation with Jean. Welcome to the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey, where we take out your emotional baggage and heal your emotional body so you get to enjoy the success you desire and deserve. Prepare to feel a sense of relief and empowerment as we get rid of the baggage you've been carrying that's held up your business success up until now. Be sure to visit our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, get comfortable, and prepare to take off.
Hi, everyone. This is Jean Border, your host for the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey podcast. I have a special guest with me today. Surprise! This is Ambereen Hameed. Did I say that right?
You did.
Yay! Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. So, we are going to have some really interesting discussions today about resilient mindset. But before we get there, welcome. Talk to me a little bit about how you got into this.
Well, hi, Jean. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me. It's truly a delight and a pleasure. I already feel the amazingness of your energy, so thank you. How did I get into this? I am what we call a performance coach, but I've actually shifted my perspective a little bit to be focused on families because I think that's where a lot of the disconnect in the world is nowadays. So I'm a coach who is driven by family, who wants to make sure that your family is united, connected, and has an irreplaceable and authentic bond. So that's what I'm channeling towards. And I just recently launched my business as doing just that.
Cool. So talk to me a little bit about how you are beginning to grow your business. What obstacles have you already come up against? And what's exciting you about it?
So I think the biggest obstacle in any business is knowing what you're offering, right? Like, what are you trying to add value towards? What are you trying to shift perspective towards? And that's where I would say I did find one of my biggest obstacles, because initially I was very driven towards executives facing the own challenges that I did in my own corporate life. I thought, man, if I could shift the mindset of these executives to be conscious leaders, everything would just become so much easier. And soon what I realized is exactly what you're saying, is that challenge of, although people knew me in the corporate world, they weren't willing to be clients. They're available and open to taking the free advice, but to actually pay for it and do the work, they don't want to. And I found myself in a place where I was like, well, what am I trying to do? Like, what? Okay, so if it's not corporate, or is it corporate? Am I doing something wrong? I think business, as you started off, is just trial and error. And you gotta let those failures fuel you, which sounds bizarre, but they have such great learning and teaching points, and the mindset shift that's required. When many of us go from a 9 to 5 to doing something of our own, it's so different. So how does that challenge us as business owners and solopreneurs, entrepreneurs? We have to go from seeking validation, right, from other people that we're working with in a team, to becoming our own champions and our own cheerleaders, and realizing that when you're just moving a little bit towards your purpose or towards your business or your offer or whatever it is that you're trying to do in this world, or solidifying even your product, that should be enough of a win to cheer you on, and you should be enough.
You should be enough. That's a big statement. And that's a really, maybe a hard one for most people to get their arms around. I should be enough, but look what I don't know. Look what I haven't done. Look what I haven't accomplished. Look at all the money I've left laying on the table and I didn't pull in when I should have. Look at all the people I could have helped, but I didn't.
Hey, I have been there. And I'm sure I will be there again. So, as we know, life is a journey. And I truly believe that the way that you've been created is enough. And our job as humans is to recognize our worth is not in the things, it is in who we are.
But what if we don't know who we are? What if we define ourselves based on what someone else thinks of us or thinks of our progress or thinks of our success or thinks of our financial position?
And you're right to say that, because most of us are kind of finding our worth and value in external things. If you really don't know who you are, I really advise you to pull out a piece of paper and a pen and write down on the top, who am I? And do this in a time where you can allocate about, 15 to 20 minutes, if a good day, whatever, an hour if you want, to ask yourself that very question. And then go back and review that list when you're done with it. And you'll start to see that the way that you define you is by the things that you have or the roles that you play. And when you're able to okay, well, I'm a mom. But as a mom, what am I doing? Like, why is that valuable? Why is that impactful? Why is that something that's even courageous? Then when you break that stuff down, start to tap in deeper. And I think for anyone starting a business, taking this big risk on your own self, you have to believe in you. You have to know who you are a little bit. Because when the difficulties come and you don't know why you're doing what you're doing or who you are, you're going to give up so much easier.
That can be very deep work, because so many of us just set a goal and then we focus on the goal and we focus on the goal and we define ourselves by, did we make the goal or did we not make the goal?
Mm-hmm. But as you're making that goal, I really encourage you to take pit stops. Every single day when you've moved a little bit closer to that goal, celebrate yourself, cheer yourself on. And you'll start to see that your inner self is like, oh, wait, I am more than that goal. Oh, the fact that I learned what the word lead magnet is, yeah, that's going to help me do something. Oh, wait, there's a difference between marketing and branding? What? I thought it was all the same. Oh, wait, no, but the goal is to land a client. The goal is to become aware about your own brand. These small things that we're doing that we may not have as bullet points in this checkmark journey are ways to celebrate you. And when you celebrate how amazing you are, you truly start to tap into a deeper version of you.
But we're almost taught to focus on the negative. What didn't I accomplish? And so many people are not taught to celebrate. This alludes to something you said earlier, celebrate the failures, because they were a learning experience for something you had not tried before.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't try something new, how are you going to grow? How are you going to expand? How are you going to explore new possibilities, right?
That's true.
And I keep coming back to the football thing because I like football. But anyway, they celebrate every time they make an extra yard, right? And then once they get to 10 yards, it's a big deal. The crowd goes crazy. And oh my gosh, they make a goal. The little tiny ball just goes across the line. And you'd think that major things that happen in the world that were worth celebrating. A little ball moved across the line. But somebody decided that would be a point to celebrate. We don't typically determine what points we're going to celebrate.
Yeah. So here I am again, telling you, the world will throw their own agenda at your face, right? But when you become a business owner, a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, you get to define your own agenda. So in your agenda, the best way to move your business forward is to feel that you are fueled, that your energy is on a high. And the way to do that is to celebrate life, to be more joyful, to really appreciate and be in gratitude of your journey as a whole. Is somebody gonna say to you, had they said to me, like, Ambereen, you're just like, you're too much. Like, you're celebrating a new shirt that you bought. I'm like, yeah, I wanted this color for so long. I waited months, and they're like, it's a shirt. I'm like, but it's the exact color I've been looking for. So when we add these moments in our life where we're present, when we're aware, when we're doing things that are marching towards a bigger purpose, is anybody going to say that a shirt that I wear has an impact on my business? No, it doesn't, but it also could. Because if I wear that shirt and I lock in my first client, not that shirt, it means something to me, right? But it all starts with a thought that becomes intentionality that you're actually celebrating and cheering on for your own self. And the world that we live in now, we are constantly bombarded, with negativity, with always reminding ourselves that you're less than. But I'm here to tell you that you are enough as you are.
And you may have your own pair of lucky socks
Yes.
to go with her lucky shirt. That's funny because some people attach superstitions to things. Once something good happens, they say, oh, it must be this shirt or it must be the socks that I was wearing. I've always found that interesting that people attach feelings of success to inanimate objects, but it's common. It really is for whatever reason.
Kind of goes back to what we talked about, right? Like people are raised and trained by society, where you think something external can validate your internal.
Mm-hmm.
And as this, as you step forth into business, you're going to get more rejections than yeses. But if you start validating your product's worth, your offering, your service, your contribution to the world with the no's and the rejections, pretty quickly, you're going to dip down far more than you thought was possible.
And that takes us more into the resilient mindset conversation. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So my whole life has been an uplifting journey of tenacity and resilience. It's tenacity is one of my favorite words that I love and live by, because I think every challenge that comes into our life comes to teach us something, comes to make us grow, or to shift a perspective. And as I began my own business, just the fact that I said, like, I hit up people that I knew, 50 people who were like, I love Ambereen. And they all knew they needed to be coached, but they said no to me. And the worst no's are the ghosted ones that don't even respond back to you. So now I'm validating myself, be like, oh my God, that's what it is. Like, I just am not enough. I'm not a good coach. I'm not this, I'm not that. But to know that this is just a moment in time. And if I keep charging forth with whatever little momentum I have, and the days that I'm down, I will realize that there is light, that there is goodness, that there is a way out of this dark path.
And a lot of times a no isn't a permanent no. It's a no for right now. Or maybe it's a good no because that's somebody that wasn't your best fit anyway.
100%.
That would have been more of a drain on you than a celebration for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, talk to me about building up courage as you move into this space of growing a business.
Yes. I think courage is the small things that we do. I don't think it's, standing in front of 3,000 people and giving a speech, 40,000 people and giving a speech. I think courage is when you had a tough day, waking up the next morning and saying, you know what, a brand new day, a brand new start. Let's see what I can do today. Courage is like when you have a family and you just want to go home and you just want to rest because it's been a tough day. Knowing that, you know what? You have to, demonstrate courage by showing up as your best self in that moment. Courage is knowing that this person was barely right here, was going to be a client, just this far away from them saying yes and them saying no and saying, all right, I'll try again with my next client. And I'll deliver a better version of me, the best product that I have. And I'll show them how my solution adds value into their life.
That's cool. Courage is in the small things. It's a unique way of looking at it, and it's very powerful.
Thank you.
And so we've touched on energy several times. Talk to me about how we can utilize our energy to actually create and realize our dreams.
Okay. So I am a big energy lover. I can feel energy where I can feel it taking away from me or it kind of giving into me. How do we actually use this energy to build a successful business? Energy is around all of us. We may or may not feel it. We may or may not appreciate or recognize it. But what I love about energy is it could be generated to be positive in any given moment in time. Any given moment in time, I can assure you that you can generate energy because it is free of charge. So when you're able to figure out that, you know what, I have had I'm sick. I'm so sick. I've been in the same bed for 2 nights, coughing and a fever, blah, blah, blah. If you stand up in that moment, and if you just stand by your window and take some of that sunlight, I guarantee you, your energy is going to shift because you're doing something to move it forward. It's momentum. It's action driven. When you don't have the energy to do the things that you need to do, life will kind of start to fall apart. But if you start to manage your energy and you start to realize that it's limitless, you can tap into it at any given time and you can take more or less. The beautiful thing about energy is it's kind of on this spectrum. You can totally be there to calm you down or be like, ooh, lift you up. And it's all right here. So we have tools and tips and tricks that we give to our clients or people that we work with. Take a few deep breaths, calm yourself down, jump up and down, light yourself up. And in those moments in our businesses, when we feel like we don't have enough energy to do what we need to, I really want to challenge you to stand and just jump and clap 20 times. And just when you're done with that, say, mess with me now, or whatever your lingo is, something that's powerful and, that will impact you in a way that will rise it and make it more positive. You'll start to see that task that seemed like a mundane thing. Now you're like, okay, yeah, I can do that.
Very powerful to change your physiology, to change your state, as a lot of us refer to it. And simple energetic movement, body movement, can change your attitude, your view of what you're working on, or how you're interacting with someone. So it is possible that very small shifts can create very large results.
Indeed. And it's when you keep building on these habits that are working for you, that's when you start to see that consistently building on these habits makes you become a high achiever, a high performer, someone who is well balanced, someone who cares about the relationship, someone who wants to add an impact and more joy into life. And a lot of these things that are happening are just taking that quick moment to shift the energy. The one thing that I would do when I was working in corporate, and even now I do it all the time, is before my kiddos come home, right? I'm like, all right, embrace it. It's happening. So take that moment and be like, how do I want to show up? And when you ask yourself that question before that interaction, it shifts everything because now you're intentional about it. And it's so much easier to do what you want to do.
And another easy shift like that for people who work outside the home or are just coming back into the family dynamic versus the business dynamic is to create a protocol for yourself where you leave the business at the door or in the car. And as you open the car door, you are now changing your state to be the family person or the social person or whatever it is. I have friends who are police officers and they have to put themselves into state to leave the family dynamic and become the strong, protector, right? And so maybe they put their boots on and they stomp their feet and they put their shoulders back. And it can be something as simple as that, but create a protocol, a habit that when you take on those actions, your brain, your emotions, your mental state shifts to support that new activity.
Yeah. So when I would come back from my corporate job, I would sit in the car, just sit in the car and breathe. And I would keep breathing until I knew I was ready to go into the house, because once you open that door, anything can come at you.
Too funny, but it's true. It's so true. But that is an easy way to change your state. Just be mindful. Okay, I've stewed about the work issues all the way home. Now I have to bring in my best self for my family who's not seen me all day, right? That's for people who are still in jobs or who have their own business away from the home. Now, if you're in the home all day long with the kids running in and out, that's another story, but there are tips and tricks for that as well to manage your state with your family. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but it's been a very interesting conversation. I've really enjoyed the topics. We've covered so many topics so quickly. So unfortunately, we didn't go into any depth, but just the conversation we had, I really enjoyed that. So thank you very much, Ambereen.
Thank you so much for having me. This was truly a pleasure to learn
Cool.
more about how it is that you're serving the world.
Yes. And for the listeners out there, if you would like to get in touch with Ambereen, her information is down below. Just click on the link. It'll take you right to her. She does have a gift for our audience, so take advantage. Of course, my information is always here if you need me for anything. I want to thank my listeners for tuning in again and being so faithful. And once again, this is Jean Border, your host of the Focused Practical Dreamers Journey podcast. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Focused Practical Dreamers Journey, where we take out your emotional baggage and heal your emotional body so you get to enjoy the success you desire and deserve. Remember to visit our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Focused Practical Dreamers Journey.